Have you ever felt like you were walking through fire but somehow came out shining brighter? What if I told you that what tried to destroy you was actually God's way of refining you for something greater? In this message, we're diving deep into the unseen fire, the sacred process where pain becomes purpose and delay becomes destiny. This is not just another video, it's a divine conversation about your becoming, about God's timing, and how heaven is turning every battle into a blueprint for your next breakthrough. You've been asking why the attacks were so personal, why the silence lasted so long, why your name stayed in places you never stepped into. But the truth is, you were never being punished. You were being prepared. And if you stay until the end, I promise you will walk away with clarity, peace, and renewed faith that your season of waiting was never wasted. Welcome to Spiritual Journals, where faith meets transformation, and every chosen one learns how to walk boldly in God's timing. Subscribe now to Spiritual Journals and turn on notifications so you never miss a word that heaven is trying to send your way. Together, we're not just watching videos, we're building a movement of faith, hope, and divine alignment. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for believing that your fire still has purpose. Let's step into this revelation together, because the same flames that tried to break you are about to crown you.
The fire revealed their fear, chosen one, and that fire wasn't sent to destroy you. It was sent to define you. Every spark that tried to burn you became the light that showed the truth of what was hidden in others. When people hate you without reason, it's never about your name, your looks, or your choices. It's about what your very presence uncovers in them. You walk into spaces carrying a peace they cannot understand, and peace will always disturb chaos. You smile through storms that would have made others crumble, and that calm confidence exposes their dependence on validation. They cannot understand how you still have light when they threw darkness at you. They see you standing and it convicts them, because your endurance highlights their excuses. That's why they whisper, why they twist your name, why they gather in shadows to discuss your light. It's not anger, it's reflection. You have become a mirror, and when they look at you, they are forced to see what they've buried within themselves. God has allowed this not to break you, but to reveal the strength He placed in you before the world ever knew your name. There's something sacred about the way you keep your peace while being misunderstood. That silence is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. You're not fighting flesh and blood, you're dealing with spirits that fear exposure. Even your stillness has authority. Your very existence is a guided meditation of divine balance. Breathing in grace, exhaling judgment, staying centered while the storm rages around you. You are the living example of Philippians 4:7. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. That peace isn't passive, it's prophetic. It declares, I am unshaken because I know who sent me. When you stopped explaining yourself, heaven started defending you. When you stopped fighting back, heaven stepped in. Every accusation became a stepping stone. Every lie became a lesson. You see, God often lets opposition rise to reveal your level of growth. You're not who you were last year. You've learned to stay calm when chaos calls your name. You've learned that not every fire means danger. Some flames were sent to refine gold. They see your glow and assume it came easy, but they weren't there when the fire was teaching you patience, resilience, and surrender. You carry a fragrance that only comes from time spent in the furnace with God. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you walk through the flames, but not alone. There was a fourth presence in that fire, and His name is Jesus. The heat that was meant to harm you became holy ground. You didn't just survive the blaze, you were purified by it. So when people gossip about you now, understand that their words are not curses, they are confirmations. Every time they mention your name, they admit you still have power. Every time they try to discredit you, they validate your purpose. They can't forget you because your spirit left a mark on their atmosphere. And that's not arrogance, it's alignment. God said in Isaiah 54:17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." That doesn't mean people won't talk. It means their talk won't work. Their gossip will echo into their own awakening. Their slander will boomerang back as conviction. Because heaven doesn't waste words, it repurposes them. Every attack becomes an announcement that favor was following you again. The fire revealed their fear. Because your growth threatens their comfort. You became a living sermon that says healing is possible, peace is powerful, and silence is strength. When they see you rise after everything that was meant to break you, it forces them to confront the parts of themselves that refuse to rise. They resent what they secretly admire. But you were not sent to be adored. You were sent to awaken. You are a lighthouse, not a spotlight. Your purpose isn't to perform for the crowd. It's to guide the lost safely home. And sometimes that guidance looks like endurance, forgiveness, and quiet confidence. The world calls it soft. Heaven calls it strength. That's why God trusts you with the pressure. You can carry it without crumbling. You can shine without boasting. You can forgive without forgetting the lesson. You've learned to master the art of spiritual composure. Every breath you take in stillness becomes a guided meditation of surrender. Lord, I release what I can't control. I embrace what you're shaping in me. That calm posture terrifies the enemy because he can't manipulate a soul that has learned to rest in divine timing. Your enemies wanted to pull you into reaction, but you learned that rest is your revenge. Every moment you refused to argue, you gained altitude. Every insult you ignored became fuel for your next assignment. Because this isn't about being liked, it's about being lit by purpose. You are fireproof because your heart is anchored in grace. You are untouchable because your peace is heaven-built. And when God is your foundation, mockery becomes background noise to a melody of victory. Remember Joseph. His brothers hated him because of his dreams. They threw him into a pit, thinking they had buried him. But in reality, they planted him. What they meant as rejection was actually redirection. You too have been misunderstood, not because you were wrong, but because you were early. They can't recognize destiny in its developmental stage. But when the promise unfolds, they'll remember every word they said and realize you were chosen the whole time. So don't take it personally. Take it prophetically. Their resistance was rehearsal for your revelation. Their jealousy was the soil where your endurance grew. The hate you experienced wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And here's the twist. What if their hate is heaven's confirmation that you've been chosen for divine exposure? Every glare, every rumor, every attempt to discredit you has been heaven's way of saying, I'm about to make them watch what I've built in the dark. You are entering a season where your light will no longer be hidden. You don't have to announce it, the evidence will speak. The same people who once doubted you will soon see what obedience in the fire creates. And when they ask how you stayed so calm, you'll say, I had peace like a guided meditation with God. I breathed through the battle. I trusted the process. I listened to his whisper louder than their noise. You will look back and realize the fire was never about proving your worth. It was about polishing your witness. Every flame that touched you refined something eternal inside you. You didn't lose yourself. You found your center. So breathe, chosen one. Inhale peace, exhale fear. Rest in the truth that the fire didn't expose your weakness, it revealed your worth. The heat was never punishment, it was purification. And now you are ready to walk through life as living proof that divine peace conquers all chaos, and no weapon formed against the guided, grounded, God-filled soul can stand.
The rise that shook their comfort didn't start with applause. It started in silence, in the secret places where no one was watching but heaven. Chosen one, you are not who you were last season. The old you would have fought back, explained yourself, tried to earn understanding from those who were never meant to see your depth. But now, something divine has shifted within you. You learned that peace is stronger than pride, that restraint is more powerful than reaction. You became mindful of your own growth, aware that not every battle deserves your energy. What you're walking in now is not ego, it's evolution. God has been teaching you the art of mindfulness, not as a trend, but as a sacred awareness of His presence in every breath, every decision, every silence. Philippians 2:5 says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." That's not just about thought, it's about posture. It's about choosing to rise above distraction, to stay anchored in grace when the world pulls at your peace. You became the calm in the chaos, the stillness in the storm, and that unsettled those who relied on your confusion to feel in control. You see, when you rise with awareness, those who live in denial feel the tremor. When you start to walk in purpose with mindful steps, every insecure spirit around you feels the shift. They sense something different. They can't label it, but they know you've been touched by heaven. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Every time you chose to respond with grace instead of revenge, you broke an ancient cycle. You stopped letting the world define your reactions. That's what it means to live mindfully before God, to understand that every word, every pause, every act of forgiveness has weight in the spiritual realm. What they thought was weakness was really watchfulness. What they mistook for indifference was really divine focus. You are learning what Jesus modeled in the Gospels: mindfulness, rooted in mission. He didn't waste words on mockery. He didn't chase validation from the crowd. He simply walked in purpose, aware of who he was and unmoved by misunderstanding. That's the secret of your rise. It wasn't about proving anything. It was about remembering who you've always been. The mindfulness that sustained you today was born in seasons that tried to break you. You learned to be still and know that He is God, not just as a verse, but as a lifestyle. That stillness became your superpower. When everything around you screamed for attention, you chose introspection. When others sought recognition, you sought revelation. That's why your spirit feels lighter now. You've learned that not everything that demands your attention deserves it. You've discovered that true peace doesn't come from control, but from surrender. Mindfulness, in its purest form, is surrender with awareness. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to rest, when to release and when to receive. It's living from the inside out instead of from the outside in. And that awareness, beloved, shook their comfort. People who once benefited from your confusion can no longer reach you. They can't manipulate what has become mindful. You are no longer reacting to life. You are responding from alignment. This is the new you, the risen you, the version forged in prayer and patience. And while they whisper that you've changed, heaven declares that you've evolved. The same people who called you lost will one day call you blessed. But by then, you'll be too focused on purpose to notice. God is not restoring your old life because your old life was too small for the calling now resting on your shoulders. He is birthing a new one where mindfulness and mission walk hand in hand. Every exit was necessary. Every misunderstanding was divine editing. Heaven rearranged your circle not because you were unworthy, but because your elevation required breathing space. You cannot carry old noise into a new season. You cannot bring the chatter of doubt into an atmosphere built for peace. That's why mindfulness is sacred. It protects your anointing. It helps you hear the whisper of God above the roar of fear. The prophet Elijah discovered this truth in 1 Kings 19. God wasn't in the wind, or the earthquake, or the fire. He was in the gentle whisper. That whisper is mindfulness. It's God meeting you in awareness saying, I am here. Be still. Every mindful breath you take is a reminder that heaven is closer than the chaos around you. The rise that shook their comfort was never about arrogance. It was about authenticity. You stopped pretending. You stopped performing. You stopped carrying burdens that weren't yours to hold. You started living as if your peace was worth protecting. And it is. That decision changed everything. Now your silence carries weight. Your presence carries peace. And your words carry authority because they flow from mindfulness, not emotion. You have become a walking sermon of serenity. When people see you now, they see proof that pain can produce wisdom, that humility can birth authority. You don't need to shout your transformation. The fruit of it speaks for itself. Like David, who once hid in caves before wearing a crown, you learned that promotion begins in private places of mindfulness. When he wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." He wasn't in a palace. He was in the pasture, practicing awareness of God's nearness. That same awareness has carried you through every dark night. You have learned that mindfulness is not about escaping reality. It's about embracing God in the midst of it. You can feel His presence even in your pain, sense His guidance even in confusion. And now you know that every rise begins within. That's why you no longer beg to be seen. You understand that divine timing reveals what human eyes overlook. So don't look back at who left. Don't mourn those who walked away. Their departure was your deliverance. The moment they left, heaven began rearranging the seats around your destiny. God is setting the table again, but this time, only those who can handle your peace will be allowed to sit with you. The same ones who doubted your worth will soon witness your reward, not as revenge, but as revelation. Because your rise was never meant to humiliate anyone. It was meant to highlight what grace looks like when it stands tall. You are the evidence that mindfulness and mercy walk hand in hand. You don't rise to prove your value, you rise to reveal His glory. Every time you choose to breathe before reacting, to pray before speaking, to listen before judging, you are walking in divine mindfulness. You are honoring God with your awareness. You are saying, "Lord, I know you are here, even in this." And heaven responds with favor. The rise that shook their comfort wasn't loud, but it was lasting. It wasn't flashy, but it was faithful. You grew in wisdom, you grew in patience, and now you stand taller not because you fought harder, but because you learned to rest in the rhythm of grace. So breathe deeply, chosen one. Stay mindful of His presence in every moment. The rise is not just what's happening around you, it's what's happening within you. And that inner awakening will keep shaking everything that was never meant to stay.
The shift of worth is happening right now, chosen one, and you can feel it in your spirit. It's that gentle stirring, that quiet knowing deep inside that says, "I'm not who I was." This isn't arrogance, it's awakening. God has been whispering to your heart, telling you that your worth was never lost, only hidden until the right moment. You went through rejection not because you were unworthy, but because your value couldn't stay in rooms too small to hold your calling. The people who walked away didn't diminish your worth, they revealed it. Every disappointment was a divine redirection. Every door that closed was God saying, "You deserve better than this." This is not the season of repair. This is the season of rebirth. You thought you needed restoration, but heaven said, "No, child, we're going higher. We're going for resurrection." Because resurrection doesn't bring things back to how they were. It brings them back better, stronger, and covered in glory. That's the message you've been missing. And that's the heart of every true Christian motivational speech. It's not about climbing ladders of success. It's about rising from ashes with grace. It's about knowing that God doesn't restore to the past. He restores into purpose. Your worth is not tied to your status, your title, or your recognition. Your worth is anchored in the image of the one who made you. Genesis reminds us that you were created in God's likeness. That means every time you doubt your worth, you're questioning divine design. And God doesn't make mistakes. You may have been overlooked by people, but you have never been overlooked by heaven. When they didn't choose you, God was preparing you. When they dismissed you, God was distinguishing you. You have been in a divine refining process, and now the unveiling begins. The waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You had to be hidden because what God placed in you needed time to mature. Like fine wine, your worth has deepened in silence. And now, He's calling you forward, not to prove yourself, but to present yourself. Think about Joseph. He was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for doing the right thing. But through every injustice, God was shaping his value in secret. When Pharaoh finally called for him, Joseph didn't come begging, he came ready. He came clothed in wisdom, carrying favor that didn't need validation. That's what God is doing in you. The rejection you faced was a setup for revelation. The world needed to see that your worth isn't dependent on applause. It's confirmed by endurance. Every time you got back up after being knocked down, heaven took note. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, you added another layer of strength to your spirit. The shift of worth is not just happening around you, it's happening within you. You are realizing that your identity is not built on what people say about you, but on what God spoke before you were born.
Isaiah 43:19 says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" That verse is not a promise of small change. It's a declaration of transformation. God is not gluing back broken pieces. He's creating a masterpiece. You've been trying to fix what God has been trying to replace. You've been mourning closed doors while heaven has been building entire hallways in your name. This shift requires trust. Trust that the same God who allowed the pruning is now preparing the harvest. The favor that's coming next doesn't need permission. The doors that are opening won't ask for your resume. They will recognize your oil, because your anointing carries authority. You've earned it through tears, through perseverance, through prayer. In this moment, take a deep breath and recognize how far you've come. The pain that once paralyzed you has become the proof of your resilience. You've walked through loneliness, misunderstanding, and loss, but it didn't destroy you, it defined you. And what's rising now is not just confidence, it's conviction. It's the divine knowing that says, "I am who God says I am." That's what this Christian motivational speech is about. It's not hype, it's healing. It's not noise, it's nourishment. It's heaven's way of reminding you that you are the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. You were never disqualified. You were being qualified for higher purpose. When Jesus was on the cross, the world saw defeat, but heaven saw destiny. What looked like loss was actually a setup for resurrection. The same is true for you. What you thought was the end was really a doorway to something greater. The shift of worth often feels uncomfortable because it requires release. You have to let go of who you were to step into who you're becoming. You can't hold on to old pain and expect new peace. You can't keep looking at the past while God is calling you into promise. The Bible says in Philippians 1:6, "He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it." That means even the parts of your story that don't make sense yet are still being written by faithful hands.
Your worth doesn't need to be argued anymore. It will be announced by fruit, by peace, by progress. Those who ignored you will soon see what happens when favor finds a faithful heart. They'll realize they were standing next to favor and called it ordinary. Don't resent them, pray for them. Because your rise is not revenge, it's revelation. It's proof that grace still works, that endurance still pays off, and that God still honors those who don't give up. The shift of worth is heaven's applause echoing through your life, saying, "Well done, my child, you waited well." So don't chase validation, walk in revelation. Don't beg for acceptance, breathe in awareness that you are already accepted in the Beloved. This is your moment of divine recognition. You are stepping into a season where heaven will showcase what hell tried to bury. The blessings arriving now will fit perfectly because they were tailor-made for the healed version of you. You don't need to perform anymore. You just need to be present. Stand tall, lift your head, and know that your worth is no longer hidden. It's radiant, it's undeniable, it's holy. What if everything that left wasn't loss, but clearing the stage for your unveiling? What if every rejection was actually a rehearsal for recognition? What if this entire journey was God's way of saying, "Now the world will see what I've always seen in you"? This is not a small moment. This is a spiritual unveiling. You are the living testimony of Psalm 118:23. This is the Lord's doing,
and it is marvelous in our eyes. Let that truth rest in your soul. The shift of worth has already begun. You don't have to earn it, you just have to embrace it. Because your worth was never up for debate. It was sealed in heaven long before anyone on earth had an opinion. And now it's your time to rise, to shine, and to show the world what divine value looks like when grace calls your name.
The power of emotional intelligence is the quiet revolution of your soul, chosen one. It's not loud, it doesn't demand attention, but it transforms everything it touches. It's the sacred strength that grows when you finally realize not every storm deserves your response. True strength isn't loud, it's controlled. It's not found in shouting your worth, but in silently walking in it. You've learned that heaven's most powerful warriors are not the ones who fight with fury, but the ones who mastered the art of peace. You've discovered that emotional intelligence is not just a trait, it's a sign of spiritual awakening. It's when your reactions start to shift from fear to faith, from ego to empathy, from impulse to insight. It's the moment you realize that silence can speak louder than shouting, and stillness can carry more authority than chaos. You see, the world taught you that strength looks like dominance, but God has been teaching you that true power flows through discipline. Emotional intelligence is the fruit of a mind renewed by grace. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That renewal is not just intellectual, it's spiritual. It's when you stop letting emotions rule your destiny and start letting purpose direct your emotions. You no longer react out of pain, you respond out of presence. That's spiritual awakening in motion. The moment when you no longer need validation to feel valuable because your worth is anchored in God's voice, not the crowd's noise. There was a time you would have fought to prove your point, to defend your character, to justify your name. But now you've matured beyond the need for recognition. You've realized that revenge isn't victory, clarity is. You've learned to see through situations rather than sink into them. When they attack you now, you don't take it personally, you take it prophetically. You know the enemy doesn't waste ammunition on anyone who isn't carrying spiritual influence. Every misunderstanding has become an opportunity for mindfulness. Every rejection, an invitation for reflection. What used to trigger you now trains you. What used to shake you now shapes you. That's the fruit of emotional intelligence, knowing how to stay calm when your flesh wants to react, how to stay compassionate when your heart wants to close, and how to stay faithful when your mind wants to flee. This isn't weakness, it's warfare. Every time you choose peace over pettiness, heaven applauds. Every time you refuse to engage in gossip or bitterness, angels take note. Because peace isn't passive, it's prophetic. It's the declaration that says, I trust God enough to stay still while He works. Remember Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was surrounded by betrayal, abandonment, and fear, yet He didn't lash out, He leaned in. He prayed, not my will, but yours be done. That is divine emotional intelligence in its purest form. He didn't suppress his feelings, He surrendered them. He turned agony into alignment. And that's what God is teaching you to do, to turn your triggers into tools, to transform your wounds into wisdom, to let your emotions serve your spirit instead of sabotaging it. When you master emotional intelligence through spiritual awakening, you begin to see people differently. You stop seeing enemies, you start seeing mirrors. You realize that their cruelty is often a reflection of their own confusion. Their anger is evidence of their own unhealed pain. And instead of fighting them, you start praying for them. Because now you understand that compassion is a weapon too. You can't heal the world by becoming what hurt you. So you forgive without losing boundaries. You love without losing discernment. You stay kind without staying naive. That's what emotional intelligence looks like when heaven trains your heart. It's balance, it's awareness, it's holy composure. Emotional intelligence is the language of the mature spirit. It's when you know you could expose someone, but you choose to let God handle it. It's when you could argue back, but instead you breathe, pray, and keep walking. It's when you realize that God's justice doesn't need your participation, it needs your patience. Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Stillness is not inactivity, it's intentional trust.
When you can rest in the midst of rejection, that's not weakness, that's warfare. You are fighting by staying calm. You are winning by refusing to lose your peace. Every moment you maintain composure, you mirror the nature of Christ. He was surrounded by mockery, false accusation, and betrayal, yet his silence carried more power than their words. That's what makes you unstoppable. You've learned that your emotions are not the enemy, they're indicators. They show you where healing is still needed and where growth is still possible. Emotional intelligence allows you to pause, to listen, to breathe before you act. It teaches you that not every fire needs your fuel. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing, because even in doing nothing, you're allowing God to do everything. When you reach this place, you start to notice your perspective change. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift is evidence of spiritual awakening. You begin to see God's fingerprints in every frustration. You find lessons in loss, purpose in pain, and peace in pauses. The world sees delay, you see divine timing. The world sees insult, you see instruction, because now your heart has been trained to interpret from faith, not from fear. That's the elevation few understand. God didn't call you to prove them wrong, He called you to prove Him right. Every time you walk in restraint, you show the world that heaven's character can live inside human flesh. Every time you stay centered, you confirm that grace has matured you beyond endposts. You are becoming the evidence that emotional maturity is spiritual power. You are living proof that softness isn't surrender, it's strength. That compassion isn't compromise, it's courage. That calmness isn't complacency, it's clarity. So guard your peace like treasure. Protect your energy like a sacred offering. Maintain your boundaries like the gates of a holy city, not out of fear, but out of faith. Because your peace is where God dwells. It's where your power regenerates. Don't hand it away to people who don't know its value. You don't need everyone to like you. You just need to stay aligned with the one who sent you. The power of emotional intelligence is not about suppressing emotions, it's about sanctifying them. It's about letting your tears flow, but knowing they are watering something divine. It's about walking into the same situations that once broke you and realizing they no longer have the same power. You have outgrown chaos. You have ascended into peace. You have awakened into awareness. And now, chosen one, you finally see that the greatest spiritual awakening isn't always loud or dramatic. It's quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. It's waking up every morning knowing that God is in control, that you don't need to prove anything, that peace itself is proof that you are growing. So when life tries to pull you back into old battles, remember this truth. Sometimes the most powerful clapback is elevation. The storm no longer defines you, you define how you move through it. And that, beloved, is what it means to carry heaven's strength in human form.
The blueprint of becoming is not written in comfort, chosen one. It is written in courage. Every tear, every delay, every disappointment has been part of a divine design so intricate that only heaven could have authored it. You didn't just survive what tried to break you, you studied it, you learned from it, and you turned it into strategy. Pain became your professor. Suffering became your syllabus. Every scar you carry now shines as proof that God can use even the hardest chapters to build a masterpiece of purpose. What once looked like failure has been revealed as foundation. Every closed door, every betrayal, every season of silence was a blueprint in disguise. Heaven was not ignoring you, it was instructing you. You were being built, line upon line, by the hands of a God who never wastes a wound. And through it all, Jesus has been both the architect and the cornerstone. When the world saw brokenness, Jesus saw blueprints. He didn't just rescue you from the storm, He taught you how to walk on the water. He didn't just heal you from your past, He turned your story into a bridge for others to find hope. That's the kind of God He is. He uses the very thing meant to destroy you as the tool that develops you. You've been through things that didn't make sense, but now, looking back, you can see His fingerprints in every detail. That rejection that shattered your heart, it was redirection.
That delay that frustrated your plans, it was protection. That heartbreak that left you empty, it was preparation. You are proof that Jesus can take what was meant for harm and turn it into holy momentum. The blueprint of becoming is not a straight line. It's a sacred construction site. Some days feel like demolition, others feel like building, but through every stage, Jesus is present with the blueprint in his hands, saying, "I'm not finished yet." Philippians 1:6 reminds us, "He who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it." That's not a promise for someday, it's a reality for now. The work is happening even when you can't see it. While you're doubting, he's designing. While you're weeping, he's wiring the framework of your destiny. While you're standing still, he's setting things in motion. You're not behind, you're becoming. The pain you endured wasn't pointless, it was prophetic. It taught you patience, empathy, and resilience. It taught you to trust what you couldn't trace. That's how Jesus builds champions, through process, not shortcuts. The cross itself was the ultimate blueprint of becoming. Before resurrection came rejection. Before glory came grief. Before victory came vulnerability. And if Jesus himself walked through pain to reach purpose, why would your path be any different? You are walking in his footsteps. Every time you rise after a fall, you mirror his resurrection power. Every time you forgive when you could have fought, you reflect his grace. Every time you choose faith over fear, you prove that his spirit is alive in you. Becoming is not about doing more, it's about being molded more. It's about letting Jesus shape you from the inside out. He's not after your perfection, he's after your participation. He wants your yes in the small things, your trust in the unseen things, your faith in the quiet things. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, is another stone laid in the foundation of your future. That's why you can't despise slow seasons. Those are the seasons where God is solidifying your strength. Every waiting room in heaven is also a training room. You're not waiting on the promise, it's waiting on your readiness. And readiness doesn't mean having it all figured out. It means being willing to keep walking even when you can't see the whole map. Abraham didn't know where he was going, but he trusted who was leading. Moses didn't feel qualified, but he carried the call anyway. David wasn't perfect, but he stayed after God's heart. Their stories prove what yours is showing right now. Jesus doesn't need you to be flawless. He just needs you to be faithful. He can build greatness out of your obedience. He can make miracles out of your mess. So when you feel uncertain, remember that faith is the material God uses to build destiny. When you feel overlooked, remember that construction happens quietly before the unveiling. When you feel tired, remember that Jesus never stops working even when you can't hear the hammer hitting the walls of your new life. He's building you in secret so he can reveal you in glory. Every time you choose prayer over panic, you strengthen the structure. Every time you worship through worry, you pour new concrete into your calling. Every time you forgive what hurt you, you lay another beam of grace into your story. The blueprint of becoming is not about speed, it's about surrender. It's about trusting the process, even when the process feels painful. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Notice it says he knows the plans. You don't have to. You just have to keep walking while he keeps designing. The walls he's building around you are not confinement, they're construction. The limitations you feel are actually boundaries of blessing. God is creating a structure that will not collapse under the weight of the glory coming next. Jesus is not restoring the old you, he's revealing the real you, the version that pain uncovered, the version that faith refined, the version that trust has matured. You are becoming what he always saw, even when you didn't see it yourself. And in this season, he is releasing divine connections, new opportunities, and favor that doesn't make sense. People will call it luck, but you'll know it's legacy. because every blessing that finds you now has been in heaven's blueprint all along. So keep praying, keep building, keep choosing small acts of faithfulness, because each prayer is a brick, each tear is cement, and each act of surrender is a new line drawn in heaven's design for your destiny. You may not see the full structure yet, but trust me, it's beautiful, it's strong, it's eternal. Jesus is still at work, carving your purpose into reality with holy precision. Heaven is whispering now. Your readiness begins here. You don't need more time to be enough. You don't need more proof to be worthy. You just need to keep showing up with your heart open, your hands lifted, and your trust anchored in Him. Because when Jesus builds, nothing falls apart. And when He says you're ready, even the gates of hell can't hold back what He's about to release through you. This is the blueprint of becoming, the divine pattern where pain turns to purpose, suffering turns to strength, and your story turns into a living sermon of grace. You are the evidence that Jesus never wastes a season, and that the best is not behind you. It's being built right now.
Chosen ones, take a deep breath and let this truth settle in your heart. The same fire that once threatened to destroy you is now shaping the crown you will carry into your next season. Every trial, every tear, every late night you thought no one saw, heaven saw it all. God has been molding you in secret so that His glory could be revealed in public. If this message is spoken to your soul, type in the comments, "My fire will crown me." That's not just a comment, it's your declaration, your covenant with heaven that you're ready for what's next. I want to personally thank you for spending this time with me and for letting this word take root in your spirit. You are part of something sacred, something that's awakening across the world, a community of chosen ones who understand that faith doesn't just survive the storm, it thrives in it. Before you go, subscribe to Spiritual Journals and turn on notifications so you never miss the words that are meant to strengthen, heal, and restore your walk with God. Together, we'll keep growing, believing, and walking into everything heaven has already written for us. May peace rest over you tonight. May your path be guided by grace. And may the same fire that purified you now bring forth financial abundance, wisdom, and divine opportunities that overflow into every part of your life. The fire didn't end you, it crowned you. And now, chosen one, your reign begins.